Sharing this with you to hopefully give you the courage as a mom to realize what your power is. Hey everybody, what's up? Hey, today I want to talk to you about a text that I got from a friend, and I'm going to read it to you. She said, "I have never fought with my boys and had this much contention in my home in my entire life. This summer has been good with a mix of hell in it because every single day they pushed for time." She's talking about time on electronics, okay? "Every single day, one of them forgot to set the timer. They argue with each other for their screen time and they beg for more, and I get told how unfair I am that I don't let them do more." You guys feel like this? "The hour and a half somehow never got stuck to, and I am the bad, anal, crazy mother for it. I turned into a monster, Mesha. I scream at them, and I get headaches from screaming so loud. I ripped the Xbox out of the wall today after the umpteenth million lecture this morning about obeying little things so that we trust them with big things and setting timers and doing simple things to gain our trust and allow Fortnite to continue. They turn around and seriously break it not an hour later. I feel just sick. My relationship with my son has suffered. How do all these other good moms do this? Are their kids not as obsessive kids? Am I the only one with kids that can't temper their Fortnite appetite?" Wow, that's a heavy text, and she knows how I feel, so she sent me that text. And I think she knew too. I think she also knew how I would respond. I sent her a text immediately that said, "Cold chills all over my body. You are their mom. Take it away." Okay, you guys, so let's talk about this. I want to tell you a little story about my boys when they were little. Okay, so they loved Incredibles, and I loved it too. Till this day, it's one of my very favorite memories of a movie that I took my boys to see in the theater. That was just fun and filled with adventure. But also the ages that they were. How old were you guys when Incredibles came out? Like 3 and 5? Okay, so they were like 3 and 5 years old-ish. Okay, so they were just at a really influential age. I noticed that the more that they watched it, the more they fought with each other. And they would, some of it was fun fighting, you know, that kind of being brotherly, like wrestling around and laughing. But some of it wasn't. Some of it was them taking what they thought were their superpowers to the extreme and just fighting with each other. And when I got to that point, I knew, okay, Mish, they need a dose of Bambi. And my husband and I used to joke about it, but it's real. So I would take Incredibles and put it on the top shelf and kind of put it away for a little while. And I would play Bambi. And they would sit on the couch right next to each other and laugh their guts out. And just, they thought it was so funny. And it kind of restored that wholesomeness with my boys. And I always kind of joke now till this day, like, oh, we need a dose of Bambi anytime that, like, they start fighting or arguing with each other. But here's my challenge for you. My challenge is to notice why. So I could pinpoint it, and I knew that it was the Incredibles. I knew that like provoked them to like this fighting and this playfulness that really was okay to have in doses. But it needed to be, there needed to be balance. There needed to be balance. And so my challenge to you is to notice if your kids are starting to act a certain way, to notice what they're being influenced by. And give them a dose of Bambi. Give them a dose of Bambi. So with this mom that texted me, I'll tell you our experience with the video game and the Fortnite thing. Not to make anybody feel bad, or if your choice isn't the same as mine, like, oh my heck, it's totally fine. It's okay. But I'm sharing this with you to hopefully give you the courage as a mom to realize what your power is, because it's in your power and it's your choice. It's not your kid's choice. It's not. So I'm going to tell you how we kind of hurdled and kind of balanced out what is our kid's choice and what's our choice. Okay, so let's talk about this. So my kids had started to kind of get involved with this game called Fortnite a lot, and my kids are the kids who obviously are so neglected because, not really, but right, but we really follow the ratings. We really follow. Hey, if it's teen game, don't play it till you're a teen. That's just it. If it's a there's just very minimal exceptions that we've allowed for ratings and stuff like that, and exposure that our kids get. When Fortnite was new, my kids started, especially my teenager, who was, totally under the arena of the age of playing that game, started playing it a lot. And I started noticing a lot of things, okay? Some of my other ones were having exposure to it when they weren't supposed to. They were starting to lie to me about it because they knew how I felt about it, which that kind of is something that you have to navigate, and that sucks. But it's just, you got to pay attention to your gut at all times. But I had this experience where I really took it to heart, and I prayed about it, and I thought a lot about this. And for me and our family, what we kind of resolved is because of the fighting and the feeling and the energy that had entered into our home along with that video game was not allowed in our home. Now, my kids that are older, that are like, 13 and up, have their own choice. If they desire to play that game, more power to them. They can play it. But what I ask them, outside of our home, what I ask them is to pay attention to their feelings. Because we talked to them about an experiment that we did, Jake and I, my husband and I. And, it was when this game, Halo, was huge. And when we were first in our young married days, and we went, we would go home for the holidays, and we'd be there for 2 weeks over the holidays. And he would just dive in with, family, with brother and brother-in-law and stuff like that. And they would just play until 3 or 4 in the morning. And man, it was just stuff that memories are made of. But let me tell you, we fought a ton. So we would start fighting. And I was like, it's that stupid fighting game you're playing. It's that dumb game. And he's like, no, it's not. It's not the game. I swear. It's just because I'm staying up till 3. And I said, okay, let's do an experiment. So we did an experiment, and we kept the experiment going for a year or even 2. And we didn't have it at home, so it wasn't something that he was exposed to all the time. But when we came home, sometimes he would just play soccer until the wee hours of the morning. And the energy wouldn't be the same as when he played the fighting games. And he started to notice over time, and it was his own choice that he was like, I'm never going to touch those games again. I'm not going to dive into those fighting games and try to deal with the energy that brings. Because, we get a lot of it already in this world. It's already very prevalent for us to negate negative energy and to try to restore it with positive. So anyway, I'm sharing that with you. That's what we shared with our kids. We said we did an experiment, and that was Dad's choice. And we want you guys to have the same opportunity to do that. But we also work hard to create an energy level and a feeling of the spirit in our home and all these different things. And it's our choice if that game is in our home or not. So, I don't know. You guys might think that that's incredible, and it might give you a lot of power to do what you have been feeling in your heart that you should do. And you might scoff at it a little bit. And it's really irrelevant to me. The reason why I'm telling you and doing this video is because I feel like moms and parents forget that if it's something that you have a sick feeling about and you don't like it, it's your choice. It's your choice. And if you feel like you're that crazy, angry mom or whatever, and you're up against that, figure it out. Don't just brush it off and let it continue. Dive in, think about it, give it some thought, and figure out what your boundaries and what you're going to do about it. It doesn't really matter what I do or what my friend that texts me ends up doing or what anybody else does. It really is up to you and making sure that you figure it out. But I just wanted to restore you in telling you that you have the power, and it's your choice, and it's your home, and they're your kids. They're your kids. So you have the choice. And I just wanted to remind you of that. And just hopefully that helps somebody. And if you guys want more discussions and tips like this and more ideas on how to live happy and be inspired, then subscribe below. I'd love to have you follow along.